CEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ or Iglesia ni Cristo.
It's 12 midnight. Tired of mindless scrolling? Tune in to Faith and Melody on INCRadio YouTube channel. Tuesdays to Fridays, 12 midnight Philippines. For thoughtful conversations that strengthen our faith and listen to inspiring INC original music. Become a part of the warm and loving community we call Ohana or family, because we are in this together in faith and melody.
Don't be afraid to take the baby steps. It's another day, don't forget, 'cause just a prayer away. Don't give up now, trust the process and keep learning. And if you need a friend, we're in this together, together, together. We're in this together, together, together. We're in this together, 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 together as a family in faith and melody.
Hello, hello, and welcome back, everyone. This is Faith and Melody, the place of meaningful conversation and inspiring INC music. Have you ever struggled with distractions or felt like you're wasting time on the wrong things? Then this one's for you. Join us as we explore how to how to change things to improve our lives while overcoming the distractions that steal our time and our energy. I'm Jay Esperanza from Australia.
And I'm Arabelle Celestino, or simply Belle, from the United Kingdom. And as your host for today, we're so excited for you to join us. So let's get started with the first song on our playlist today, which is entitled Eyes on the Prize.
Now is the time to wake up and be heard. Don't be scared, nothing can stop us. We are guided. Hold on and stand tall. Fight on and give our all. Don't draw back, our God will give us the strength we need. Go fight and win, we
That one drive on prize. Well, no matter where we're tuning in, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Well, it's currently 12:09 a.m. over there in the main studio in the Philippines, and here in the United Kingdom is 4:09 p.m. as well as actually no, it's 3:09 a.m. there in Australia where Jay is. I thought it was gonna be a 12-hour a 12-hour difference is not. But anyways, if you are tuning into Faith and Melody today, welcome, welcome. Later on the show, we're talking about clearing the clutter and setting our priorities on what truly matters. And today's topic is focus forward. But before we dive into our discussion, let's begin with our kickoff chat.
Kickoff chat. So for today, we're talking about a focus booster or distraction. So we actually have a couple of random, not completely random. I'm sure some of us have done this, activities, maybe habits. So we want you to decide in your own experience and thoughts whether this is something that can help you boost your focus, or would you consider this as a distraction? So you have Belle and I here on the panel to start things off as well. So let's go ahead. Let's post the first one over there in chat, Belle, which is checking social media first thing in the morning. Would you consider that as a focus booster to help you be more focused and alert for the day ahead? Or is that a distraction for you? I mean, it depends on each person, right? But Belle, for yourself, checking social media first thing in the morning. So basically, as soon as you wake up, would you consider that as a distraction or a focus booster?
Well, it really depends on the day. But when I'm really more sleepy, looking at my phone wakes me up. If I don't know, like, I don't know what's the exact reason, but every time like I check the phone like first thing in the morning, like my eyes are already like exposed to some light. So like my whole being is wake up in a more easier way. But when I'm already like energized in the morning, I feel like starting off by already checking my phone on like checking social media on my phone can cause a distraction. So it really depends on the situation. Like
Oh, it
it's
depends on
not
the morning. So
yeah,
if you wake up in the morning and you're very energetic already as soon as you wake up,
I
then
don't need it.
well, but
But
if you wake up and you're still kind of half asleep, you would consider it as a focus booster? Wait, did I get that right?
a focus booster in a way where it just like wakes my mind up
It makes
because
your brain more alert.
yeah.
I get it. Okay, I get it. I get it. That makes sense. That makes sense. I can see where you're coming from because you need something to wake you up, and sometimes that social media checking it and all that can wake up your mind. For me, I don't know. Maybe just because I'm older, I'm just always tired in the morning, and so I consider it as a distraction for me, because I end up as soon as I wake up, the times that it has happened, and I check it. Like the first thing that happens, I wake up and I reach for my phone, and then I start searching through messages, social media. Not so much because I don't really have social media anymore, but when I did, I would end up like scrolling through one social media platform, and then you'd scroll through, right? And all the feed and all the posts and everything else. And then you go to the next social media platform, and then you go back to the other one. And then it goes on for too long. So I will put it for me in the distraction category because I end up waking up and then I don't start my day until like an hour later because I just get lost in the moment. I don't know if that's ever happened to you. I don't know how you get through that, Belle, in terms of like if you're sleepy and then you use social media to wake you up, like how do you stop? Like how do you know what to stop?
So, like, when you wake up in the morning, you know how your eyes are really sensitive to light, any type of light. So that's why looking at like your phone in the morning, at least for me, I'm not saying that works for everyone, but when I when I go on social media on my phone, then it already like it forces me to open my eyes because there's light, and like even though I'm squinting, at least like there's some sort of light. And yeah, I stop because like I look at the time. I I check the phone, like I check the time on the phone, and then I just go on social media, and then I look at the time again because like especially if I need to go to work or somewhere else, I need to make sure that I get up in time and have enough time to prepare. But yes, I
I
feel
get
like
that. Yeah. That
unless
makes sense.
unless it's a like boring day, not boring day, but like a more chill day, then
A
I don't
slow
have to
day.
check it. But if it's in the morning, like usual morning, then I have to make sure that I need to get up.
Okay. Well, most of our some a few of the comments that's coming through from those our Ohana, our live viewers. You want to go ahead and read a couple of those out, and as well as some greetings. So give them a shout out while we're at it before we move on to the next one, which is taking a power nap. Right. So that's our next question. Taking a power nap, is that a focus booster or a distraction for you? But go ahead, Belle. Let's give a shout out to some of our Ohana that's watching us live at the moment.
Okay, so here joining us today is our Christian Broda saying, "Have a blessed Tuesday midnight, everyone on Faith and Melody, and happy watching and greetings from the local of Noveleta district of Cavite here in the Philippines." And then we also have Brother Mario Oka saying, "Watching here in the Philippines, and hello to all brethren. Greetings from the local of Brixtonville district of Caloocan North." And we also have here Rod Kahayag saying, "Hello, Faith and Melody, greetings from Livermore, Northeast California." And we also have Sister Lani saying happy Monday or Tuesday, Ohana. And here we also have Mavi Tamayo that joined us. And she also wrote down, "Definitely a distraction. I stopped doing this and don't look at my phone when I wake up." Oh, that's at least you're self-aware. But it's a good way to start your morning by not like being on your phone. That's good. And then Rod Kahayag said, "Distraction if it's not work." Okay. I mean, at least at least at least you're still able to be on your phone for work. Sometimes even when you go through your work emails, like sometimes there's so many and it becomes a distraction in some way because you're there for too long if it's not a work from home day. But anyways,
I
uh
agree. I agree. Yeah, that's true. And you know how you mentioned that you use your phone screen to the light from your phone screen to wake up your brain if it's like a slow day. Like I was going to suggest, because what I do is use the sunlight, right? Just get out and get some sun in your eyes. And on your skin as well, like early in the morning. But then you're in the United Kingdom, where most days you have no sun, right? She's
so
she's laughing.
lately it's been more sunny. Like in the morning I can see just a bit like of sun, and then later on it's just there. But during the winter it's so dark.
You
It's
wake up, it's dark.
And when you wake up and it's so cold, that's why I need the phone like to wake me up, because the cold doesn't want me to leave the bed. And on top of that, there's no sun. So that's basically the only resource I have to actually like push myself to wake up, apart from the time that uh I need to have allotted for like preparation for my day. But yeah, that's why for me it's not as a distraction because I need it. I actually need it. I don't know how other people in the United Kingdom do it, but that's my way of waking
Of
up.
waking up. Yeah, I get it. I get it. Lani is also there saying hello to us there in our live chat. And Mr. B, MTB, greetings from locale of BF Homes in the district of Makati. So thank you for tuning in. Magandang gabi po for tuning in with us. I know it's a little bit late there in the Philippines. But the next one is, what did I say? Taking a power nap. right? So we already have Rod saying that he loves power naps. And our executive producer of Faith and Melodies there in the live chat, Des is saying naps for power. Naps for power. How about you, Belle? What's your thoughts on power naps? Do you think power naps for you is a distraction or a focus booster?
Well, for me, it's kind of a distraction. I'm just gonna say it's a distraction because
Really?
because um sometimes I don't wake up when I want to. Uh, I put an alarm or I set a timer, but then I'm like, oh, 5 more minutes, and then it just becomes even more longer. Unless I really need it a 10. If I need a 10-minute nap, then that's fine. That's a real power nap. But sometimes when I'm really exhausted, I just keep on sleeping. So
Keep on sleeping.
it becomes a whole like a whole sleeping schedule. So yeah, it's a distraction for me. What about you, Jay? Does it work for you, like having power naps?
I'm with most of the our Ohana there in chat. I love power naps. Power naps is my go-to. You know how like when your battery just needs a little bit of a recharge on your phone, and you just plug it in really quickly, and then you put your shoes on, you take it off, and that 30 seconds. Like for me, the good thing is I fall asleep relatively easy. So if my brain is just tired and I'm just mentally exhausted, I can lie down and fall asleep like pretty much straight away. And usually somebody else will make me up. So like a power nap ends up being like 15 minutes, 20 minutes for me if I'm lucky, right? So that's okay. For Jem, however, it's hard for her to fall asleep. So she really can't take power nap. Like it takes her quite a long time to fall asleep, and then once she does, it's like she gets woken up by something, by noise, because she's also a light sleeper. So that's probably where that falls. But for me, power naps my go-to just to get that extra recharge, especially if I haven't had a proper night's sleep from before. But let's go ahead. Let's do our last one really quickly before we close off our kickoff chat, which is multitasking. Now, just before that, Melvi also shares that yes, I love power naps too. All I need is about 10 minutes, right? Power naps, that's what a power nap is. So as long as you don't go over and end up becoming a proper sleep in the middle of the day, yeah, you got to be careful with that one. But multitasking, Belle, multitasking, is that a distraction for you or does that help you boost your focus?
If it's only two things, that's fine. But it's like if it's like five things at a time, it's too much. I can't focus on every single detail that I need to focus on. But if it's two things, it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
as bad, depending on the situation, you know. But two things, I think like everyone can handle at least two things at a time. But I feel like from three plus on, like that's when it gets a bit tricky. But whoever is able to handle five things at a time on the same like on the same like level of like focus, like
Like attention to detail and clarity, like that'd be impressive. Do you know anyone that does that? But I'm on the same boat as you, Belle. I would agree. Like I think multitasking, I would put it still in the distraction category, but I would agree as well. Like I think most people can handle two things, but still, like especially for me, if it requires a lot of attention to detail and a lot of like uh analyzing, sort of foreseeing things and that sort of, what we do. Uh, I think even for me, multitasking drops my performance down, right? Like I feel like I can perform better, I can produce a higher quality result if I'm not multitasking. Like if I'm focused at one activity, one task at a time, especially one project at a time and not multiple projects, right? You don't want to be cooking something on the stove and trying to keep an eye on that while you're also working on an edit because you'll burn it. Like from speaking from experience, you'll burn whatever it is you're cooking because you'll forget to set the timer and it's like, oh no, how long was that cooking for? And that sort of stuff. So definitely, I would put in the category of distraction. But if it's a very light task, I agree with you. Two things there. We've got Jonah there as well, one of our Faith and Melody hosts in the live chat, saying good morning to everyone. Jonah Grace Lopez tuning in and also sharing with us some of her thoughts. She says yes to power naps for that, and yes to multitasking, like working and tuning in to Faith and Melody. Yes, I agree. Tuning in and working at the same time while you're tuned into Faith and Melody, multitasking like that. Everyone out there that's listening right now, go ahead and do that. That's easy, right? You just got it playing in the background. You're listening to the INC music we've got playing. You're listening to the conversation and all of this. And every now and then you would share, but while you're also doing your work, yes, let's do, let's keep on doing that. That should be very, very easy for all of us Ohana to do. Multitasking, Rod says, multitasking helps me focus but get distracted at the same time, or depends on what it is and how delicate. And he continues on, I do very delicate and precision work, but I multitask, engaging, oh, where is it? Engaging with faith and melody. Yes, right. So if you can do that, if you can multitask with the work that you're doing while you're listening to faith and melody, and every now and then jumping on the keyboard and typing in and sharing your insight, why not? We always love to hear from our Ohana, our viewers that's tuning in with us. And was there any other comment that I missed, Belle, that's there in our chat? I think we've got Belle's muted at the moment, but I think there's one there from Des. Go ahead.
I was already talking. I didn't realize that. But anyways, yeah, see, when you're
When
when
you're
you're
multitasking.
oh, but yes, we proved our point with that. As Asena said here, no multitasking for tasks needing more concentration and focus to lessen or eliminate mistakes. And here, Melvi Tamayo said, yes, I love multitasking and do my best to keep up. I'm working and listening to Faith and Melody at the moment. That's quite good. And I'm glad that most of you were able to incorporate Faith and Melody in your daily routine, because it's not only on Mondays, it's like from Monday to Thursdays, or if you're in the Philippines or in that area, like in that part of the world, it's from Tuesday to Friday. So it's just it's just crazy how you can just do that. But the point is, like with podcasts or like radio shows like ours, it's just easier when you don't need to look at the screen to listen to it, because sometimes, like for example, if it's something that it's in a foreign language, of course that you can't multitask with that. The only multitask that you're doing is
Like
watching,
reading the subtitles, you mean? It's a different language.
but you can't do it.
If you're watching like if you're watching like Korean dramas and that sort of thing, you have to read the subtitles. But I get you. But yes, hopefully that has helped us primed ourselves for the upcoming discussion, Focus Forward, which we're going to be talking a lot about how we can declutter and focus on the things that are truly important in our lives. So, but before we get into that, that rounds off our kickoff chat for today.
Kickoff chat.
Well, we hope that you enjoyed that kickoff chat, but we also have prepared for you a few songs. So before we go on to our topic discussion, we will have two songs playing for you. So the first one is entitled Don't Give Up, and the second one is entitled Love. Enjoy, and we'll be right back.
As we are preparing for the coming of the big day, there are hindrances that can make us Give me an L. Give me an O. Give me a V. Now give me an E. Give me an L. Give me an O. Give me a V. Now give me an E. Love, 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 love. We must love, 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 love each other as much as we love ourselves. We must love, 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 love one another just as we love ourselves. Because it's God's command, the trait that we must have. Let's love, 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 let's love, 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 let's love, 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 let's love, 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 love. Give me an L. Give me an O. Give me a V. Now give me an E. Give me an L. Give me an O. Give me a V. Now give me an E. Love, 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 love. We must love, love, love our brothers and sisters just as we love ourselves. We must love, love, love and honor others just as we love ourselves. Let's obey our mighty God. Everyone, let's show. Love, 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 love. All the members of the Church of Christ say love, 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 love. All the members of the Church of Christ say love, 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 love. All the members of the Church of Christ say love, 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 love. All the members of the Church of Christ say love, 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 love. Give me an L. Give me an O. Give me a V. Now give me an E. Give me an L. Give me an O. Give me a V. Now give me an E. Love, 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 love.
We hope that you enjoyed those two songs. But yes, earlier we talked about, uh, some distractions or focus points. No, focus tips, maybe, in our kickoff chat. But, there's a lot that goes into that, into our focus. So, let's start off with um, thinking about something in your life that brings true value and growth for you. Jay, would you like to start with that?
So for me, Belle, something that brings true value and growth, and like I was thinking about this question quite a lot, just before leading up to today's episode, today's topic discussion. And you know what? This time, in a month's time from today, it's gonna be my birthday. Right? And I've been thinking about all the things that are valuable to me, like what was mentioned here, like what's the most precious and important things to you when you're thinking about what truly matters in life. And there's so many little things here and there that come together to form like the things that are important for me specifically. And I think it's different for each person, but you got to find what that is, right? I can summarize everything under three things. And some I've taken this inspiration from what we learned, especially as members of the Church of Christ. I can categorize everything under faith, hope, and love. So everything that is important to me falls under those categories, right? So firstly, faith is very important, especially as Christians, that we have that close relationship with God. And that comes through from how we serve him, attending to our duties and everything else to bring us closer to our Almighty God and our belief with him, because we know that we need God in our lives. We need him to look after us, to watch over us in everything that we do. So faith is very, very important. Now, for me, when I think of the word hope, I think of my outlook in life, especially when I'm facing challenges And whenever I'm struggling and there are things that are sort of out of my control, hope is my mindset. Hope is my outlook. And how do I develop that? I think it's got to do with not only my mental health, but also it ties in with physical health. So anything that I do to look after that aspect of my life. So my physical well-being, emotional well-being all ties in to how I'm mentally, healthy. How clear I am and how more confident I am when I'm facing challenges comes through under that banner of hope. And then the last one is love. And I think this is the greatest one because it's like the relationships that God has given us with the people around us, right? The people that we work with, the people that's in our lives, our family, our friends, those are loved ones, developing that meaningful relationship with them. Those three things I think are the most important, and the things that I do in my life uh, basically falls under those three categories for me, right? Like what is it that you're doing, and does it fall under those? So if I can sort of categorize them to hit those targets of it helping me improve my faith, hope, or love, that's kind of like what I consider as true value. That's very, very important for me, right? I don't want to have any regrets with anything else. And that means for me, I don't want to have regrets of not building that connection with the people that's very important to me. I don't want to have regrets of not having the best capability, mindset, and skills and qualities to face challenges. And I don't want to have that regret that I don't have that close relationship with our Almighty God. So that's my one, right? That's my true value. If I can, whatever I'm doing in my life can hit those targets, then I'm happy with that. How about you, Belle?
It's such a simple concept, right? Like you put it in three categories.
Mm.
And it is something that, you know, at the end of the day, it's so simple yet so effective because uh you get to truly understand the importance of those little things that matter in your life. And it's true when you mentioned that uh for your um like to take care of yourself, it's not only physical, but it's also emotional and your, of course, mental being. But yes, I feel like that is really something that uh, also is important. And for me, I also want to add up to that by saying that, something that brings true value and growth in my life is truly my election, my calling inside the church. Because um, without that, I wouldn't have the faith that I have right now. And my faith has brought me forward from ugly places, from hurtful places or situations. And I'm not saying that now is not, it won't get any easier in life. But with the faith that um, has helped me through those things, I just feel much more confident in life. And on top of that, also, my duties inside the church and also my creative passions. Because, sometimes we are so focused on trying to be more productive, more trying to do more, try to be more successful, try to do everything all at the same time. That's why we were talking about multitasking earlier, right? So, yes, it's something that we need to make time for, those little joys in life. It can be anything. It can be what, listening to music or listening to podcasts like most of you are doing right now during work, or going to the park, go for a walk, or sports. It can be anything as long as your creativity as a person is still there, because without that, then life would be so dull and kind of boring, right? It's like you won't be able to see the beauty in the mundane or simple things in life if you are not able to be if you're not as creative or as grateful as you are for those things. So i I think that that is really uh, important as well in terms of bringing true value and growth, because it helps you alleviate that that feeling, that overwhelming feeling that you have when there's a lot of things happening in your life. So yes, I mean, as long as that doesn't take most of your time, of course, then that that's when it becomes a distraction. But with that said, since we talked about uh, distraction or focus or maintaining focus earlier, how do you identify when something is just a distraction, even if it feels like it's really important to you, Jay?
Well, just earlier, just want to read really quickly that Melvi also shared here in our chat. She says that uh, she also added that she picked the similar response for me, but she added it's all about doing what's right, and that attitude is a choice. So always choose the right one, right? Choosing the right attitude, choosing to do what's right. And to follow on through with what you just asked, Belle, in terms of identifying, and I think that's where a lot of people, especially like I've experienced it when I was much younger, trying to figure out what is actually considered important and what's a distraction, what's valuable, right? And what actually is hindering me from what's really important in my life. How do you discern between the two things? That if it's important, even because some distractions may feel important at the time, right? Especially when you're younger, when you have less responsibilities. A lot of what um, people who have more responsibilities, let's put it that way, would consider those things as distractions. But those who have less responsibilities, like going on social media, playing video games, and that sort of thing, it's not so much a distraction. It's something that actually helps them focus more. Kind of like what Belle mentioned earlier, where her phone actually helps her focus first thing in the morning since they don't get much sun there during winter in the United Kingdom. For me, though, in terms of identifying if something is important or if it's a distraction, again, it falls down what I've learned and what I've started implementing, recently, especially with the new year and all, is that if it falls in those categories of faith, hope, and love for me, right? Like what my view on it, because I've just taken inspiration from that as we learn as Christians. Like, is it hitting those targets? Is it hitting what I want to help me attain the next level with those different categories? Is it helping me with my love, with my connections, with my loved ones, with my friends? Is it helping me with my health? Like, hope covers a lot of my physical, mental health, like what I'm doing, exercising, eating, how I'm talking to people, and how I'm connecting. That kind of like they fall towards each other, right? So I feel that if what you're doing pushes you to the other side of what you want to achieve, then I would consider it as a distraction. Does that make sense? Like if what you're doing now, and I don't want to give any like specific examples, but whatever habit, whatever task that you're working on at the moment, is that working towards to help you in what you truly value in life? So that's why I think first and foremost, each individual needs to take some time to sit down, be somewhere quiet and really reflect on what is truly important to you. Because you get told as you're growing up that it's important to have a job, right? But we know that yes, we do need work, we do need a job, we need that sort of thing to provide for our needs, prepare for the future. But in terms of what is truly valuable, is that like there? Is that like the number one thing that your whole life is going to be about? Like it's just about work, right? Or is it going to be the connections with your parents? The connections with your loved ones, with your spouse, with your children when you get to that stage. That's why it's different for each person. Depends on the stage and the chapter of your life that you're in. So I think that's very important first. You identify what is truly your value, what's your value right now? What's the most important thing for you? And it will change maybe each half a year, maybe each year. It will change for you depending on where you are at in your chapter in this life. And once you figure that out, you just ask yourself, like what I'm doing right now, is it working towards those things that are important for me? Is it helping those to grow, to improve, to be stronger, to build that bond, right? And then the other thing as well that I try to think of is it giving me energy or is it draining my energy without giving me the results towards what I want to achieve? Whatever it is that you want to achieve, whatever it is that you've identified as your values, like, is it working towards that and giving you the energy to, because that's what you need, right? Whatever you're working on, it kind of it inspires you and it gives you that fulfillment. Once you work on something and you've given your blood, sweat, and tears to all this work, and then at the end of it, you step back and you look at the result and you're like, do I feel fulfilled, right? Or am I just happy that I got that work done? Like, fulfillment, I think, is very important because it's like you've given an extra piece to what's very important to you. You put in that extra brick in there to make it stronger, to build it up. So that's kind of like where I kind of like take it in terms of trying to identify. It's not always easy, right? It's not always easy because we also need a break. And sometimes we also feel guilty, right? Taking a break because it's like, oh, I should be working on this and working on that. But that's why for me, when I have hope in there and that's my mental health, that's also like, how do I take care of my mental health? Taking, quality breaks, whatever that is, self care to look after yourself. Belle, how about you? What do you do so that you can identify what's truly important?
Well, on top of what you mentioned, I feel like you mentioned almost the most of the essence of what we can do to filter out a distraction in our lives. And it starts with a simple question: is it a want or is it a need? you know you need to understand that that euphoric feeling that you have when you think about doing something. Sometimes it's just because you've been feeling drained, or because it's just something that makes you happy. But is it something that you see still doing, like in a few years time, or is it something that will help you in a few years time? I'm not saying that you're not allowed to feel like happy, but I mean, of course, we need to make the most of being happy in this world. But what I mean is, there are times when we are clouded by our emotion, whether it's happy or a sad feeling, that we tend to uh, shift our focus a bit from what we truly need to get done. So, yeah, that's why it's just sometimes you just need to go straight to the point. Is it a need or is it a want? And from that answer that you will be given to yourself, you need to make time you know, for the task that you need to do, or the goal that you want to achieve, and also yourself, because we need to invest in ourselves as well. Because how can we be our best versions of ourselves if we are only investing our time and energy on other tasks that are not, um how do you call it, that are not helping with our growth, in life. So it needs to be something that, it needs to be balanced in our lives. But yes, and I also think that too much of almost anything can be a distraction. Like, you can eat rice, like morning morning, uh then you have brunch or like lunch, and then snack, and then evening, like just rice. Like, of course, like too much of anything, I'm not saying that it's bad, but too much of anything, like in big portions and all that stuff, and just rice, for example, just put it in a way where, oh, you're just eating rice every day, like in every meal, then of course you're gonna lack of other, like, of other, how do you call it, like other, it's not vitamins, but all the other
Other
supplements.
nutrition,
Yeah,
the
all
other
the
nutrients that you need.
nutrients that you need. Thank you, Jay. So yeah, I mean, that's like a simple example. I can't think of anything else that can like bring more more depth into this. But too much of almost anything, because sometimes too much of something can be positive depending on what it is, of course. because at the end of the day we just need to be able to realize ourselves if uh, too much of something can be good to us. But also, with that, as you mentioned earlier, a lot of reflecting. And yes, it comes with prioritization. And with that, it's filtering out what you really need. Like, for example, are you gonna, uh, can you live without that thing that is distracting you? Then yeah, if it's yes, then of course it's not as important. So at the end of the day, it's all about trying to realize yourselves if that truly is important or not in your life. But with that said, here Sister Melvi Tamayo also um, mentioned something saying the biggest distraction I've faced and continue to face is my inner critique and the negative thoughts that it brings. It has distracted me from amplifying my life and becoming the person I want to be. With God's help and life's experiences, I've learned to navigate this hindrance and made the decision to better my life with the changes given to me and choose to make the changes to have a better life. And that is true. Sometimes we are the reason why, we are distracted. And sometimes we also self-sabotage because we are either not as confident, or we don't see ourselves like that. But I'm glad that Sister Malvi was able to share that with us. It is really on point what she mentioned, because it's true. Sometimes our biggest enemy is our mind. So
Yeah,
that's why
that's
we need
true.
to be careful of what we consume every day, what our environment is, because you don't want to be so stuck in your ways that you can't like advance. And I'm not saying I'm
Before you add on to that, Belle,
yeah.
because that's what we're actually going to be talking about next. Is like how do we cut out those distractions? So it's good that like in Melvy's case, and even for all of us, that we identify what might be a distraction towards our goals. But we're gonna be talking about that. Like, what can we do so that we can cut out those distractions that we've identified that's happening in our life? But did you read the second part of her response there, Bell, on chat?
uh Let me check. Oh, yes, that I was able to, that with God's help and life's experiences, I learned to navigate this hindrance. Yes, I was able to read that out. But also here, brother Bryn said here, personally, I don't believe in distractions because I feel that everything that I face is God. Uh, the I face, God is God. It's God's
It's
will.
God's will
For it
to
to
happen.
happen. I ignore distractions and focus on the final goal in all that I do. And that's true. At the end of the day, what we go through, like, there's a reason why we go through certain things. But yes, with that said, before we go for further on with our topic, Jay, would you like to enter our next segment?
Yes. So I mean, like this was a great beginning part of this discussion, right? Like importance of identifying what is important to you. The values that really mean something to you personally, and taking the time to reflect to find out what those actions are that can serve a purpose towards those values, but also recognizing if we're spending our time in the best areas. And sometimes part of our values is looking after ourselves. So even taking proper breaks, right? The self-care to look after our own well-being is also important so that we can give more to the things that matter to us. But with that, before we continue on our next part, which we're going to talking about, is how can we cut out those distractions that affect us in our life. Let's listen to the next two songs on our playlist, which is If That's What It Takes, and the second song that we'll be listening to, Battle Cry. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. Just waiting to see if those songs are loaded by our brothers there in the main studio. So again, the next two songs we're listening to, If That's What It Takes and Battle Cry. So take it away.
Each night and day to you, dear Father, I pray. I haven't yet seen your answer, but I know that I will someday. It's so hard to take heart when trials break me apart. Yet through it all, you've helped me make it this far. Oh Lord, I'm still holding on. I'm still holding. Lord, it's only by your grace that I can ever go on. Though the world wants me to stop, I won't give up, 'cause you inspire me by your love. I'll serve you even better. I love you more than ever. I won't lose faith in you. I will wait. I'll hope when hope is gone. Give my all to carry on. It's gonna be worth the wait, if that's what it takes. I won't complain, my waiting won't be in vain. If it makes me a holier man, by the end of the day, I will prove I'll be true. No matter what I go through, I will forever be faithful to you. You'll see, I'm still holding on. I'm still holding. Lord, it's only by your grace that I can ever go on. Though the world wants me to stop, I won't give up, 'cause you inspire me by your love. I'll serve you even better. I love you more than ever. I won't lose faith in you. I will wait. I'll hope when hope is gone. Give my all to carry on. It's gonna be worth the wait, if that's what it takes. I'll serve you and more forever. I love you for forever. I won't lose faith, if that's what it takes. When it seems all hope is gone, Lord, please help me to be strong. You know I'll do whatever it takes, if that's what it's gonna take. I'll serve you even better. I love you more than ever. I won't lose faith in you. I will wait. I'll hope when hope is gone. Give my all to carry on. It's gonna be worth the wait, if that's what it takes. Each night and day to you, dear Father, I pray. I haven't yet seen your answer, but I know that I will someday. To my fallen comrades, time to get up. Those wounds will heal in time. You've rested enough. The battle's almost over. Take up your sword. Fasten your war-torn armor and fight for the Lord. Can you hear the battle drum calling you, telling you, pushing you? Do what you gotta do. Only when this war is done
This is Jay and Bell here on Faith and Melody, and we're talking about how we can focus forward. So, as we get into this part of our discussion, we're finding out, since we've talked about distractions in the past and the things that kind of for us are distractions, how can we cut out those things? So, to kick things off, we're going to ask, what are some of the biggest distractions that steal your time, right? That steal your time from the other things. So, Belle, over to you. What are some of your biggest distractions that you're happy to share with us, of course?
Some of my biggest distractions is procrastinating and doom scrolling. One thing is in the morning when I need like a a pick me up. But what another thing is when I'm on social media and it's a relaxing time for me, or like a relaxing day, or just a chill day. Um and I just want to check it for like what 1 or 2 minutes, and then it becomes what, like 20 or 30 minutes over, and then I look at the time and I'm like, oh, I just spent 30 minutes on my phone. you know it's just something that um can get out of hand in a way where, how the algorithm caters to us. It's just
Yes,
hard.
yeah.
It's just hard in that way, just to you know um log off the app sometimes, because you're so interested in what you are like seeing on your phone that you just keep scrolling and scrolling. It's like, oh wait, and then one thing leads to another thing where you're like, oh, this reminds me of that, and then you're just gonna like look it up and then doom scroll even more about it. So it's something that can happen to anyone. And at the end of the day, it's something that we all need to learn how to regulate. Well, unless you are working on social media, then that's different, of course. But if you aren't, and you have other tasks to do during the day as well, I feel like it is something that can happen, doom scrolling, because um, you know, you're so entertained and you know, so happy to look at those videos or pictures that um, time passes by really quickly. But with that said, it's normal. But at the same time, just because it's normal doesn't mean that we need to not regulate it, or we just let go of it because, oh yeah, it happens to anyone, like it's normal. But yes, also with procrastinating, I feel like it's sort of the same thing. You think, oh yeah, I'm just gonna do it later, and then later you're doing something else. So yes, it needs to. It's something like that. It's kind of similar to doom scrolling, because you're like, oh yeah, I'll just a bit more, and then with procrastinating, you're like, oh yeah, just like 5 minutes later, and then when you look at the clock, it's like, oh no, yeah, I'll just give it another 5 minutes, or like 10 minutes later I'll start it. So we can see that at the end of the day, it's either the first step or the last step that you're taking. They're both important, because the first step like gets you to do whatever you need to do. The last one is to have like a self check in a way where, oh, am I why am I still on social media? Oh, why haven't I started this yet? So yes, it is something like that. But Jay, what about you? Have you got something that has distracted you so far?
I think most parents have one of their biggest distractions is just the housework to do around the house. You know, there's laundry, there's things to tidy up, there's the dishes, there's food to cook, there's, you got to hang the clothes, you got to fold the clothes, there's so much things to do that you go from room to room and he goes, oh, let me do that. And then you start doing something and then you see something else in the corner of your eye and then you go, oh, I got to go fold that and put that away first. So you start doing folding that away. And then you realize, oh, wait, I have to go mop this because it might spill something. So going around and just never getting anything done because there's just so much of it is truly something that most parents can relate to, I would say. Right. So I think it's just that. And I think that's kind of like why we talked about multitasking earlier, where it's actually quite difficult for us to multitask because when there's so many things in front of you, you want to work on all of them and you just get distracted and then you never end up getting anything done. So I don't know where that falls, but that's generally like I think multitasking is one of those challenges that I've experienced where you've got just like too many things and you keep on getting distracted and you keep on stop and start, right? You start on one thing and then you realize, oh wait, I should do this one first, and then you do that, and then the process repeats because there's something else and there's something else and there's something else, right? So I think later on we're gonna ask everyone as well, like what do you do to stay focused on what matters? But the other one for me, I don't have social media anymore, but I still have YouTube. You know, INC Radio and all the channels that we have here on YouTube. I get hooked on YouTube Shorts because I think it's the same. It's a similar thing where they're very short clips, and you get that dopamine hit whenever you something like entices you, something interests you, and then the algorithm knows that you like that, and it starts feeding you more and more of that type of content, and then you end up scrolling more and more and more, right? And you realize, oh, this is only 15 seconds. Oh, this is only a short. But you know, some shorts now go up to like a minute, depending on which platform you're on. And so like your couple of, you know, scrolling on shorts can end up easily quickly becoming 30 minutes, an hour, right? And you lose track of time. So that's one of my biggest distractions that I always try to avoid. That's why I try not to reach for my phone. I try not to reach for my phone like first thing in the morning because it distracts. I end up opening YouTube pretty much most of the time, and then I get distracted with shorts and with everything else that's on there. The other thing that I've had in the past, and I've worked on it to be a lot more better, is controlling myself from over committing or over promising on certain things. You know, each of us only has a certain amount of capacity on the workload that we can do before it affects the performance and the result that we can output. So overcommitting to things, especially when there's already a lot of important, urgent matters that you're working on, you lose your attention and your intention on things when you have too much things on your plate, right? So you have to be careful on where your attention and your intention is. And I do that by making sure that I don't overcommit. The overcommitting is one of those distractions that I've had in the past, right? When you promise so many things and then you end up like, have you ever had a day when there's so much things going on and so much deadlines and meetings scheduled that you're just running around frantically and you just don't know what, you know, how everything is kind of like just falling into place and just feels like a mess, right? So that's why I try not to put too much on my plate of work that I have to do. I don't try not to overcommit too much. So, you know, we everyone out there has their own distractions they have. I can see some of our Ohana are also sharing some of their insights on what they consider as distractions. So, Belle, why don't we go ahead and read a couple of those comments from our live chat?
So I can see here in Team Live Chat, here Jonah Grace Lopez said, distractions come in so many forms, especially when you're preparing for special spiritual events, tried and tested. And Zenaidos Novisteras here also said, agree with Ate Jonah, but it keeps me motivated and I did not give up. And Ate Jonah also mentioned here, you will hear some of the worst things that make you feel guilty, but then again, brush it off and don't overthink. And that's true. At the end of the day, you know how we feel guilty whenever we take a break or something like that. If we keep feeling guilty, it's the same effect. Like, nothing will you won't get anything done, or you just feel even more heavier. You know, like in that way. But yes, Rod also here mentioned something. He said, "Oh, K drama is the one that distracts me from doing some housework." But yes, like
I can
yeah.
relate. I can relate with that. And also, like right now, a lot of Jem and I are really into, you know, Japanese animation. You know, all the different that they have there, and where we end up binging a lot of the different animes that they have there. So you know, Korean dramas, Japanese animation, like that could be a big source of distraction, especially when you have to get work done. It's like, oh, I'll just watch one episode but then there's always that cliffhanger at the end, and that gets you hooked, and you go, I have to watch the next one. I just have to, right? And then you just end up watching and watching. And it's true. It's important that you take a break from whatever task you're doing, especially if it's to just recharge really quickly, maybe take a power nap. But when you don't time it and your break ends up becoming a lot longer than 15 minutes, and then an hour has passed, right? You got to be careful. You got to be also careful, especially when if it's really just a break and not like I'm done for the day kind of thing. And I'm switching off for the day and I'm relaxing for the day. If it's a break, make sure that you are mindful of your time. Did you read this one from Zenaida where she says the biggest distraction that steal my time is house chores before going to work? Well, it's true. Like again, speaking as a parent, like I always have to have the house clean, right? It's tough for me to like I want to come home to a clean house, right? So it's funny. Like Jem will be getting our daughter ready and putting her in the car, and I'm there, and I'm like, I'm still need to get changed, but I'm vacuuming. I'm vacuuming. If you know me, and I've mentioned this many times, I love vacuuming. It's kind of like a sense of relaxation for me, but also it helps to clean the area, right? And if you have a 7-year-old running around, there's always crumbs and things everywhere, right? And I'm always just trying to tidy up, not clean up, tidy up. So that's always a distraction, and there's always things to be done. So I can relate. I think most parents can relate. Like there's always house chores, and you always want to leave the house clean or tidy so that when you come home, it's like, you're more relaxed that way. So let's go ahead and let's read and let's find out what's a simple habit that helps you stay focused on what matters, like the things that's actually important for you for the day, right? You've probably made out a to-do list, or you've made out like these are the three priorities that I have to work on today. This is where my attention is going to be. How do you stay focused on that? What helps you stay focused? How about for you, Belle? Like what's something that helps you stay focused on what matters for the day, so that you can
Well,
focus forward, just like what our title is.
well, to focus forward, I write down my tasks or what I need to get done. It's just easier because, um, like back in elementary school, when you're writing an essay or, they're dictating the words and you misspell it or you don't know a word. At least in my experience, they made you write it like 30 times on a page, and by the after that, you already know how to write it. Like you get me. So from that experience, uh, I basically learned how to write down my task and everything. So I would know what my tasks are for the day. I don't have to write it physically. It can be on the phone, like like just typing on the notes and then tick them off. It's the same thing, but it just really helps because especially if you are a visual person and you just wanna see it there, like written there, it's easier for you to remember, and it's easier as well to keep track of what you need to do and what you've done as well, because it's also satisfying to just tick off things from the to do list, because yeah, it's just satisfying because you feel more accomplished once you've seen like what more than 3 ticks on your on your to-do list. You already feel like, oh, actually I can do this, so it motivates you more to finish off the other tasks that you need to do by the end of the day. So that's something simple that works for me. What about you, Jay? Is there any tips that you would like to share to us?
I was going to say like uh your to-do list, the first one that's always on the beginning of your to-do list is start a to-do list. And then you go, yes, started, tick. Yes, I feel good, right? And that's gonna help you get the momentum for the rest of the day. So that's true. It's good. It's very important to write things down. One of the things that helps me stay on task and stay focused on what I need to do, and this is for me personally, I think it works kind of like the whole multitasking thing. If you do two simple things at the same time, that's okay, but any more than that, it's hard. I think focusing on more than three things throughout your day, like three main tasks for the day, is a good balance of everything. I feel like if you have more than three things, then you can, right? It could end up becoming a bit overwhelming and you may not get around to it, especially if they are time consuming activities, right? Having to do your taxes, right? That's going to take a lot of time. And but then you also have to go clean the car, and then you also have to do the laundry, and then wash, like there's going to be a lot of things, right? So I think focusing on three main things for each day. So Jem and I, we start our day and we talk, after our morning routine and our prayer, we talk, what are we focusing on today? What's the plan today? Sometimes we do this the night before if we get a chance, but most days we do it first thing in the morning, and we kind of just write down the three things that we're focusing on today, right? And that kind of like gets our mindset at the right place. It gets our attention at the right place, and the intention that we've set for the day is written down there. And I like what you said about writing things down. It's a visual thing. It's a visual cue that you can go to. It could be something that you can put together in your own chat or your own list that you have, especially if you're working together as a team, like with your spouse, in my case. So whatever it is that helps you stay on track and stay focused, it should be written down. It should be somewhere where you can work together. Like what Brian said there in the chat. He says, I read it earlier. Um, have a great working system, and you'll never have to worry being distracted. Because if you don't have anything, a system that works for you, so you have to find out what works for you. Is writing something down? Is that what works for you? Setting calendar reminders, right? Sharing your calendar with your spouse, does that work for you, so that you both get the notifications and the alerts whenever those tasks come up throughout the day? Like, find out what works for you, and if you have a working system, then you'll never get distracted. It'll help you stay on task. I wouldn't say that you'll never get distracted, because distractions are always around us, but I think it'll help you stay more on task. Right? Well, like that's very important. And above all, in everything that we do, right, to stay on task, leave it all to God through prayer, right? Share your goals and share your plans on what your purpose is for the day. You include that in your morning prayer that you have. When you're thanking him, and you're grateful for this, and you're showing your gratitude, then also share this is what you're doing for the day, and to guide you, to help you, and to give you that what you need to be able to achieve your goals and your intentions for the day. That's very, very important as well. But yeah, I mean, like, there's so many ways to stay on track and to have form those habits. So I think writing it down, and three main things that you're focusing on for day, especially if they're kind of big activities, can help you stay on track. And then you can always add a bonus one there. If you end up completing everything like in the morning, and you've got the rest of the day for you, then do another list. Don't waste the day, right? Do another list. Like, you can take some time to take care of yourself, to relax, to recuperate, and then work something in the evening, or vice versa, whatever it is, whatever works for you, so that you have something that you are focusing on, right? So you can move forward. You can focus forward on what you need to do, and try not to, because if you don't have that plan, like what they always say, if you plan, if you fail to make a plan, then you're basically planning to fail, right? So planning is very, very important. Uh, well, what are our ohana adding there to our discussion?
Jonah Grace Lopez said, reflect and thank God for his guidance, mercy, and love. Deep breath, deep breathing, pray, attitude of gratitude. And Melly Tamayo here said, prioritizing and jotting down what I need to accomplish for the day. I also set alarms, reminders on my phone, and post them using post-it notes in front of a mirror. And I feel like that's good to have something to remind you every day or throughout the day. Sometimes, like, if you are living on your own, like, it's easier to have certain gadgets to help you out in terms of reminding you, like, phone alarms. But when you are at home with someone, then it's easier if you tell them what you need to do, and they're gonna remind you as well. So yeah, I feel like uh that's a great advice, Melvi. And here Rod also said, I use my phone app to stay focused on tasks throughout the day. And Zenaida said, simple habit for me is turning on my alarm when I cook, and anything that I need to be done a day before. Oh, that's good. So at least when you start off your day, it's already prepared for you. And I think that's easier, like writing down your to-do list the night before or the day before, so that on the following day it's already there. But yes, thank you so much for everyone who was able to like share with us the various their various experiences with distractions and their simple habits to stay focused. But I also wanted to say that it's true uh what you mentioned, Jay, that with no plan, how can you succeed? And it's like, with no aim, you're just gonna walk aimlessly. So it's just the same thing. But with that said, we will go on a little break again, and we'll be playing for you. Open your eyes, wake up, and you can do the impossible too. We'll be right back.
And while those two songs are just getting loaded over there in our main studio, I just want to quickly say that for everyone, actually, Rod shared with us his acronym, and this is a really good one since the title is Focus Forward. He shared his acronym, which is for the title Focus Forward, fix our concentration, ultimately staying focused on responsibilities, winning, and rewarding doneness. I love it. I love how Kuya wrote is able to put together an actual sentence from the titles that we have here. But awesome with that, Rod. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts there. And when we do come back from our break, we're going to be talking about how we can continue to go forward with purpose, right? To focus forward with purpose, especially when we are feeling stuck in where we are in life at the moment. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And before we get into that part of our discussion, again, the next two songs that we're going to be playing, hopefully we've got our brothers there in the main studio, got it all loaded up. Open Your Eyes, Wake Up. And the second song, You Can Do the Impossible Too. So don't go anywhere. Faith and Melody will be right back after this.
In the Bible it was proclaimed it would be hard to be a Christian in these last days. So we gotta be ready to fight the good fight. Yeah. We have been taught from the beginning. This is no time to be lax or be sleeping. Let nothing change our faith inside the Church of Christ. Yeah, this is the time to make a stand. Yeah, step from and follow God's command. For it is to God that we pledge loyalty. Yeah, don't be fooled by the lies. Yeah, by all the tricks the devil tries to lead you astray from the truth you receive. It's on your open your eyes. Yeah, yeah. It's on your wake up and realize that at all times you must defend your faith until the very end. Time to open up your eyes and lead a true Christian life. Our Father has made no mistake with the leader he has placed. He teaches us the truth from God that has stood the test of time. The judgment day is oh so near. Swear to his truth you must hold dear. Don't you ever waste your only chance at eternal life. Yeah, this is the time to make a stand. Yeah, to come and follow God's command. feeling alive. It's time to go. It's time to wake, 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 wake up and realize. It's time to go. It's time to wake, 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 wake up and realize that all time you must have your faith until the very end. Time to open your eyes and lead a true Christian life. And lead a true Christian life. Remember how God upheld his messenger, how faithful all of his promises were, to strengthen and to help him. Never fear, 'cause God was with him. Remember how he was faced with impossible odds, but he pressed on and trusted God. False religion seemed like giants, but because of God he triumphed. And today we see the proof of what God has done. Never doubt what he can do, the Almighty One. Nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible. If you keep your faith in God, then you can do the impossible too. Remember just how brother fell. It's not love taught us how to obey and follow all of God's commands, so we can also be blessed. Yes, we can. Remember, if you get sick, God can heal you. Whatever you face, he can help you. Never be afraid. He will hear when you pray. Every day we see the proof of what God has done. Never doubt what he can do, the Almighty One. Nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible. If we keep our faith in God, we too can defy all odds. No, nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible. If you keep your faith in God, then you can do. By virtue of his service, God's promises came true, and the fruits of his mission are fulfilled in me and you. Yeah. Nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible. We keep our faith in God. We too can defy all odds. No, nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible. We keep our faith in God. Then you can do. Nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible. We keep our faith in God. We too can defy all odds. No, nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible. We keep our faith in God. Then you can do the impossible too.
Welcome back here on Faith and Melody. And yes, we talked about our various experiences with distractions. And, we also shared various ways for us to keep us focused. So, you know, when we have a lot of tasks or a lot of matters to attend to in life, sometimes we can feel overwhelmed or even stuck in life. So, have you ever felt stuck in your life? And, you know, what helped you move forward when it came to that?
For me, when I feel like most of us would have had an occasion when we felt stuck, we felt lost, we felt like we weren't going anywhere, right? We felt like whatever we were doing at that time felt kind of mundane, right? So I've had that experience before, especially from the last work that I was doing. And I think the most important thing to do is not to forget that we have people that we've been blessed with that we can talk to, right? We have our parents, we have our you've got close friends that you can confide with, people that we look up to, or even certain mentors that helps us and gives us some sort of guidance in life, right? Don't forget that we also can pray to our Almighty God for guidance and for that understanding to see where our life needs to be. So I think first and foremost, it's important to pray, especially if you feel stuck, if you feel like you're not getting anywhere in life. You pray, patiently wait, and you listen for God's answer, right? There's always going to be a response in some way that God is going to guide you in leading you where you need to go, whether it's to continue forward or perhaps to pivot and to change directions, right? You have to look out for God's answers as well. So that's, I think, the most important thing. Lean towards your faith and lean into God's plans for you, right? And that we do that through prayer, and we do that through understanding that God has a plan for us and his plan is in motion, right? He's moving the pieces in our life to move us in the right direction. But we got to keep an attention to that as well. Don't just uh, lose attention to the things that's happening around you and what people are saying, right? That's why we got to make sure that when we pray to Almighty God, especially for help and for guidance, that we're also paying attention to his answers and to his response. Sometimes that comes through the people in our lives, comes through the worship service lessons. I don't know if you've ever experienced that, but I've experienced that before when I felt stuck and felt lost and felt like, am I doing the right thing that's going to help me in my future and what I want to do? And then you attend the worship service one time, and then the lesson feels like it was specifically for you. It was made specially for you almost. And that gave you the courage, the understanding, the motivation to take the right step. So you got to listen out to God's answer as well. You got to pay attention to that. And then when you do find out what that steps are, right, and whatever the direction might be, it's okay to remember that you don't have to take one big step. You can always take a small step, right? You can pivot just with a side step here and there, right? Don't forget that baby steps are also steps forward. So whatever, once you've found the answer through through God's help, then whatever steps you need to take, if it feels daunting at first, it's okay to take smaller steps, right? Maybe just start off small, and that'll help you get out of that place when you feel stuck in life. But Belle, how about you? Like, I know that you're a little bit younger than me, but you've also, you've got again, we all have our own sets of what's important to us right now in the chapter of our life. What have you done in terms of that? If you've ever felt stuck, is that something that you've ever experienced before?
Yeah, and like it's normal to feel stuck at times. And I mean, as Christians, we've always been taught to pray to our Almighty God. And to add up on what you mentioned earlier, it is true. You always need to seek our Lord God, and He will provide for you. But with that said, when you feel stuck, there's only two ways that can go. Like, you either stay in that situation and you don't do anything about it. I mean, you can complain about it, because I mean, that's the only thing that you can do in that moment, I feel like. But you can also try to reflect, and reflection, that reflecting time that you take really helps you realize that there's always a way to get through things. There's always a way when you want it to be that way. Like, if there's a will, there's a way. It's really easier said than done, but sometimes we just need to uh, snap out of old mentality, or our old um, our old mindset, you know and at times we just feel so overwhelmed that you just freeze. That's why we feel stuck. So when we take the time to reflect upon the various things that are affecting the situation, we will be able to realize in a more clear manner that there are ways to solve certain matters, and there are ways for you to move forward with that situation. And sometimes our comfort zone is holding us back, because our comfort zone, like, it's a zone, right? Like, you try not to get out of your comfort zone, so you're kind of confined in that comfort of yours. So that's why sometimes when we don't think out of the box or out of our comfort zone, um, we might not like the outcome, because we've done such things for a long time, in that way. But with different problems, there's different solutions, right? And that goes with change, because when you feel stuck, it's either you stay like that for a long time, or you seek for change. And most of the time, change um, is the only um, way for you to move forward. So yeah, that's why it's just really important for you to take the time to assess your thoughts, and um, and uh, try to realize what your next steps are, no matter how big or small they are. But let's see in our team live chat if any of you was able to um, share something. But with that said, Jay, um, I really believe that with our calling inside the church and like seeking God, that's really what helps us through in those times of need and in that time when we feel stuck. But
I agree.
um,
Agree.
like, we've always mentioned about our faith and our calling inside the church. So how has our faith and purpose helped us focus forward? Like, in which ways, in what ways were we able to feel inspired by those?
For me, when it comes to, especially when it comes to purpose, right? And I mean, that's leading on from that our previous conversation about feeling stuck in life and finding out, like, is this really what I'm meant to do? Prayer really is very important, but most above all that, our faith that God has our back. Like, God's gonna, He has the best plans for us. Like, He'll take care of His people. He'll take care of us. All we have to do is put our trust in Him and believe in everything that He can do. So when we have our faith, and when we realize that God can take care of all of those things that's outside our control. There's so many things that is outside our control, but God has that. God can take care of that and help us to overcome all of those things. It provides that sense of confidence and calm. It makes us feel calm in life. Not only that, it provides clarity when we are guided by our Almighty God. Right? When we have that clarity from God, it just like everything just seems to fall into place. So sometimes you might realize that when things feels crazy and hectic and things aren't happening the way that you had intended, you got to ask yourself, have you been working on your relationship with God? Maybe you need to pray a little bit more and to strengthen that connection more, right? That's why faith and prayer, that connection with God is very, very important, because that's what we rely on. We know that God has the best plans for us, He does everything in His own time. Whatever it is, His plans are working for us. He's moving the pieces, He's putting us through challenges, He's putting us through those trials that we need to go through to build up our faith, to build up the skills that we need, our resilience, our ability to make the right decisions, all of those things that we need to move up to the next level in our life. Like God is putting us through the paces so that we can achieve who we need to be. We just have to make sure that we take action, right? So that's why it's important that whatever we're doing, we have to always keep moving forward, right? It's okay to take a moment to take a breather, right? But don't stop. Never stop, right? Don't go backwards, right? Always move forward, and we can do that with the help of our Almighty God. Focus forward, right? Take a breather if you need to, crawl if you need to, take a small walk. Like, for as long as you're moving forward, whatever it is, as long as it's forward, God will always be able to take care of the rest, right? As long as you have God on your side, you don't have to worry about anything else. What about for you, Belle? What can you share with that part?
It is something that has has been at core in my life because um, I was born and I grew up in church, so it is um, it is an important thing or an important value that I have in my life. And when you're able to reflect and meditate and pray to God, you'll feel much more at peace because you're able to uh, find refuge in someone who can um, listen to you and also help you. And my faith and my election inside the church really brought me to a brighter state of mind, and it also brought me so much hope throughout these years. And you know it's true because especially during the pandemic, uh all of us were affected by it, right, Jay? So especially during those times, um that's when it felt really rough, not only for me, but I feel like um most of us felt that way. So um it my faith really helped me through those times. It brought me much more happiness, and it brought me much more courage to go on um, with life. And um, I see here that our Ohana in Team Live Chat was able to share a lot of, inspiring insight. And here we have Rod Kahayag said, "You've got to pray just to make it today." And he also said, "When there is God, there is a way." And that's quite true. It is true because when you feel lost or you feel stuck and there's nothing that is in your control, God is the only one who can truly help you. And Melvi Tamaya here said, "When I feel stuck, I assess and reassess what I've been doing wrong. Then I practice building good habits and take uh, pragmatic, incremental actions uh, toward moving forward." And Jonah Grace Lopez says here, "Wheels always turn. When you're down, next cycle is up. Keep the faith solid and trust the process." That's also a really good analogy, Jonah, because it's true. It's like when they say that that when you are at rock bottom, the only way for you to go is up. So yes, it is a really good insight, so thank you for that. But also here, uh Rod also added, "Grit is sticking with your future and working really hard to make that future a reality." And that's true, and it comes with a lot of focus and moving forward, right? John also mentioned here, "Guard our hearts to keep our humility and let God handle our battles." And Melvi Tamayo said, of course, prayer and communicating our needs to God is very important. It is through my faith that I've made it this far in life, knowing that as long as we have God, He'll never let us down. Rod also said, run when you can, walk if you have to, crawl if you must, just never give up. And that's true. It is something that we as Christians have been implementing, you know, throughout our lives. And it's true because no matter how dire the situation is, as long as we have God on our side, anything is possible. But with that said, we also would like to say thank you to everyone who was able to join us today. And also, we would like to mention here Leandro Del Mundo saying good evening, and Janeline Aguinaldo saying hello po, tuning in from Musoma, Southeastern Africa. Thank you so much um, for your support today. But in a world filled with so many distractions, especially on the digital side of things, it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters to us. So we encourage you to take this time, uh, this season, to reflect on what you need to let go of and on what you need to focus on, right? So, in all that we do, always go to God first, always seek Him first. You know, He's always there waiting for us, He's ready to help us and give us a hand. Most of the time, we don't even have to ask Him, and He already knows what we need. And He will help us to clear all the clatter, all the noise, and focus on the things that truly bring life and purpose. So, with that said, Jay,
I
would you
think I
thank
mean I totally agree as well. Thank you, Belle, and to everyone that's been sharing their insights to this inspiring conversation that we've had here. But with that, just before we wrap everything up, we've got our top comment that we've chosen for today. So if we can start with our top comment bumper.
Top comments.
So this top comment goes out to Melvi Tamayo, who shares with us, and we love this one here. Of course, prayer and communicating our needs to God is very important. It is through my faith I've made it this far in life, knowing that as long as we have God, He'll never let us down. We received so many great comments, but this one really struck a chord with us. But so many else out there. It's hard to choose. But thank you to everyone that shared their comments today. But this one here, that's our top comment for today's episode.
Top comments.
And with that, we're going to proceed to our verse of the week for this week here on Faith and Melody, which is titled "Develop a Love of Learning" by Brother Rommel. So let's all listen to our verse of the week.
In today's busy world, there are so many distractions that can pull us away from what actually improves our lives. Social media, video games, they steal our time. So what should we focus on so that we don't waste our time or end up in poverty? I'm Brother Rommel V. San Pedro, and for our verse of the week, I'll be sharing with you what's written in Proverbs 19:8. Those who get wisdom do themselves a favor, and those who love learning will succeed. So you see, we need to focus on gaining more knowledge and improving our skills. The knowledge we gain in school and through self-learning is essential for a bright future and achieving our dreams. It's crucial not to lose focus and instead invest our time in researching the field that interests us in order that we learn what concrete steps we need to take to get to where we want to be. That's why getting that degree or certification is so important. Yes, prayer is always important, but also remember that God will bless the hard work and labor you put in. So, invest in yourself and your future. To our friends, We would like to invite you to gain the most valuable knowledge. Join us in our Bible studies and study God's words with us here in the Church of Christ. This is the knowledge that will lead you to be close to God and ensure your eternal future.
Thank you again to Brother Ramel for that inspiring message to take with us for this week ahead. And with that, I just want to give an opportunity for Belle to give her final greetings and shout outs.
I would like to greet everyone who was able to join us. And thank you so much for your great insight. It really brought so much more motivation to me. But yes, also would like to greet my family, my mom, Mommy Annie, Ate Erica, Arian, Sam Sam, and Dandan, and everyone who was able to bring us so much inspiration. But yes, Jay, anything else?
And just want to give a quick shout out to Priscilla Batan as well, that's saying hello to us there in live chat. But yes, thank you to everyone. It was really a wonderful discussion and conversation, and we loved everything that you shared with us there in our live chat, and also to Belle for everything that you shared with us on our discussion today. Quick shout out as well to our technical team over there in the main studio, our brothers in the main studio, Nico and Irene, helping us tonight on our broadcast. To Sister Dessa Senas and Brother Edwin Asaboke, and as well to our INCRadio station manager, Brother Wally Taray. And of course, special acknowledgements and greetings to our CEBSI president and CFO coordinator, Brother Angelo Iranya Manalo, and the executive minister of the Iglesia Ni Cristo Church of Christ, Brother Eduardo V. Manalo. And again, thank you to everyone for joining us on today's episode. I'm Jay Esperanza from Australia.
And I'm Belle Celestino from the United Kingdom, and we have been your host for today's broadcast. And we hope that today's episode has given you much more of a positive start to your week ahead. So to close off our episode today, we'll be listening to Rise. Join us again tomorrow on the next episode of Faith and Melody. See you and take care.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great week.
Dear brethren, hear this call. Listen to these words. Hold fast to God's great gospel, for it shall never fail you. Truth is our sword, faith is our shield. Stay strong, my brothers and sisters. The storm is brewing, do not waver. Rise, take up our arms. Together we stand, never alone. Fighting for our faith, we must rise. Take up our arms. Together we stand, never alone. Fighting for our faith, we must rise. Weary souls, sometimes that we fall, but our faith will never be good. For strength is our dear Father. Live forward by His holy will. Tears dry by His unfailing love. We will not fail, but if we should fall, He will be our strength, so we may rise. Take up our arms. Together we stand, never alone. Fighting for our faith, we must rise. Take up our arms. Together we stand, never alone. Fighting for our faith, we must rise. By His mercy, forgiveness, He bestows. Though we're unworthy 'cause of sins, we'll renew our life, and constantly we will call. Listen to these words. Hold fast to God's great gospel, for it shall never fail you. Truth is our sword, faith is our shield. Stay strong, my brothers and sisters. The storm is brewing, do not waver. Rise, take up our arms. Together we stand, never alone. Fighting for our faith, we must rise. Take up our arms. Together we stand, never alone. Fighting for our faith, we must rise. Take up our arms. Together
This is INC Radio, DCEM 954.